What's the 3-5 rule?
We talked earlier about information overload. The 3 to 5 rule is 3 to 5 seconds or 3 to 5 minutes. Electronically, if you are communicating from the other person's perspective, they are in charge of their attention, not you. So the 3 to 5 rule reminds you that electronically, the average person, the maximum amount of time they're going to spend on something in attention electronically is 3 to 5 seconds. Maximum. Like it's often shorter. So that means if you are sending something, a lengthy email, all the stuff that they send out, I constantly read for the companies that I consult with their emails, and it's like they write War and Peace. No one reads anymore. Everyone skims. So you have to start writing and communicating for skimming. So what that means is electronically, everything needs to fit. I need to be able to get the gist of it within 3 to 5 seconds. Face-to-face meetings, the biggest things that still are the biggest waste of time and biggest source of complexity in companies are either emails or meetings, and it's usually both combined. And meetings are horrific, and everybody thinks just because Outlook says you can book an hour-long meeting, you can just use an hour. The maximum amount of attention span you have face-to-face is 5 minutes. So from now on, I want you to think of every hour-long meeting as 12 5-minute segments. So the 3 to 5 rule is attention and how to communicate from the other person's attention. And even in this video, I varied talking from you to the camera, I varied the sound of my voice, I varied within 3 to 5 minutes, I am changing my tone, my inflection, my hand movement. Even while I'm just sitting here, I'm trying to be disciplined in remembering the 3 to 5 rule and remembering that every few minutes, I have to recapture your attention.
Beautiful, beautiful. You call yourself Mr. Simplicity. Are things too complicated in the boardroom, in our workplaces? You kind of answered that a little.
Too complicated in life, in everything. It's not just the boardroom. There's a quote out there that's been attributed to Lincoln, Einstein, Samuel Clemens, Winston Churchill, whoever you care about. But it's, if I had more time, I would have written it shorter. And the point is, simplicity is hard work. So it's caring enough about whoever you need to bring into this to make it easier for them to learn, easier for them to understand, easier for them to communicate. So simplicity is both an art and a science. And everything is way too complicated. And as I said, we've covered portions of it earlier. The value, the essence of simplicity is empathy. Put yourself in the other person's shoes. Then recognize time, the 3 to 5 rule. The shorter amount of time everybody has, the more you got to get focused. And then it's put value inside everything you do. And where I discovered this, I was a junior in undergraduate school at Rochester Institute of Technology. And I was taking a logic course, if, then, PQ, and/or statements. And I was bored. The textbook was the same. The instructor was teaching it the same as I had taken it in high school. I had aced it in high school in 12th grade, and I got an A+. So it's like, I can blow this off. So I blew off all the classes, the midterm. I was just going to take the final. And when I was blowing things off, I went around the lake to Toronto. I partied my butt off in both legally and illegally things. And I stumbled into the Ontario Science Centre. Like here locally, it's the Liberty Science Center, and it was hands-on museum. And I saw these kids playing with a maze, and it was about 12 feet across, 10 feet high, and had ping pong balls in it. And the goal was to get, with a limited number of levers, to get all the ping pong balls to drop, one ball to drop in one place. And I watched kids playing with it. The 6th graders, they blew it the first time, blew it the second time, third time they got it and high-fived. And when I realized, at that moment, it took me a few years to formulate this in my head as simplicity, but I got the essence at that moment. What those kids were doing, They were doing college level logic. An and statement requires two halves of the statement to be true. In the maze, they were figuring that meant two gates. Or an or statement means only one half of the statement can be true. This is like binary programming. So that meant in moving the gates that only one of the gates needed to fall to get the ball to move. So they figured that out. But they figured it out because somebody designed college level logic at their level. They didn't give them a college textbook to do it. So why this empathy is so important. Our workforce can solve the most complicated, complex problems. There are things that cannot even be imagined that our current workforce, with all their education, could solve right now, if we had enough leaders and companies designing the work in ways that our workforce could solve it, not the way the company wants it solved.